questions that you have. So my name is Mike Rubino. I am the noise lock door and window sales manager at IAC Acoustics. And today I will be presenting the noise lock door webinar. First, we will be learning about noise lock doors. And then after that, we'll look at some recently completed projects that we've done case studies on. And I'll go over some specific details of those projects. So please ask any questions you have during the webinar, and I'll do my best to answer them at that time. So before we really get into specifically noise lock doors, I wanted to go over the IAC architectural door offerings. So we have noise lock doors. Noise lock doors are available in STC 43, STC 51, 53, 55, 61, and STC 64 performance levels. The STC 43 is a 1 3/4 inch thick door. The STC 51 and STC 53 are both 2.5 inches thick. The STC 55 door is 3.5 inches thick, and as well as the STC 61. And then we have the highest performing STC 64, and that's a 5-inch thick door. Noise lock doors are available up to a size of 14 by 14 feet. After noise lock doors, we have super noise lock doors. I just want to briefly touch on what a super noise lock door is before we get started. Super noise lock doors are available in STC 51 and STC 55 performance levels, and they would either be a 4-inch thick or a 6-inch thick door. And super noise lock doors are IAC's solution for elephant doors. They're oversized doors that exceed 14 by 14 feet. So if it's under 14 by 14, we would construct it as a noise lock door. And over that, it would become a super noise lock door. Has a bit more robust hardware, slightly more industrial looking. You can see a few pictures on the bottom there. Super noise lock doors are available in swinging configurations. They can also be sliding or vertical lift. Today, we're going to focus primarily on the noise lock doors. If you're interested in super noise lock doors, please feel free to reach out to me directly after the webinar, and we can talk about super noise lock doors. I have also presented a super noise lock door webinar in the past, and I'm sure we'll be doing that one again as well. This chart here is the noise lock door performance chart. It shows the different ratings along with the thicknesses and weights of each. All noise lock doors, as you can see, as indicated in the chart, are provided with a split frame and acoustic seals. Additional door hardware is also supplied with each door, which we'll discuss shortly. The STC 43, the 1 3/4 inch thick door, has a single seal configuration. The STC 51 through 55 are double seal doors, and then when we get to the STC 61, there's a third seal introduced, and that's when it becomes 3.5 inches thick. And then when we move up to the STC 64, the 5-inch thick door, that also has a triple seal. The next several slides are going to be a section view of each door, so you can see the seal configuration and how it works with the different door thicknesses. I'm going to go back and forth between these a couple times so you can see how they change as we increase the performance level. This is the STC 43. This is the 1 3/4 inch thick single seal noise lock door. And just to clarify, this is a view from the top, showing the top of the door leaf in the closed position on the hinge side. So this door would swing open towards the top of the page. This is the hinge barrel. We have the door leaf, we have the frame, and then the seal here. So this is the STC 43. This is a detail of the STC 51 and STC 53. You would not be able to tell the difference between the STC 51 and 53 simply by looking at it. They look exactly the same. They have the same profile, same seal configuration. The only difference between the two is the fill that's inside of the door. The STC 53 has some additional materials, making it 2 pounds per square foot heavier than the STC 51. So you can see the difference between the seal configuration on the STC 51 and 53. We have a seal on the door, which is here, and then we have a seal on the frame, which is here. So the door will open up, and when it closes, it compresses at the door seal, goes against the frame here, and then the frame seal, the door compresses against that one. And again, those are magnetic seals. The STC 55 is a 3.5-inch thick door leaf that uses the same frame and seal configuration as the STC 51 and 53. But the STC 55 is now 3.5 inches thick. We've added 1 inch of door panel. And the STC 55 is 4 pounds per square foot heavier than the STC 53. So here we can show the difference between the 51 and 53 and the 55. You can see that all we've done is add 1 inch of door thickness. Next, we have the STC 61. And this is another 3.5-inch thick door. The door panel is actually the same door panel that's used on the STC 55. However, in the STC 61 model, the frame becomes modified. We add a third seal, and we also add a substantial section of frame, giving it the higher performance. So the weight of the STC 55 and the 61 is actually the same. Because the door panel itself is the same, we get our performance by upgrading the frame. So we'll go back again. We have the 55 where you eliminate the third seal. Then we go to the 51 and 53. So again, we're adding 1 inch to the door, and then we add additional frame to the 61. Finally, we move on to the STC 64. This is the highest rated noise lock door, and it is a 5-inch thick door. So you can see it's 2.5-inch sections of the door, and again a third seal, but the frame is stretched out to accommodate for the 5-inch thickness of the door panel. So I'm going to go back through these one more time so you can see them. (61, 55, 51 and 53, and the 43. Here is a detail of the split frame. So all of the noise lock doors will include a split frame assembly. Obviously, this split frame detail is for the STC 51 and 55. It does not have the sections for the second and third magnetic seal. However, the split frame, the idea behind the split frame would stay the same for all of the noise lock doors. And what that is that the male frame section is installed, it's pushed in, so you would have your wall in this area. You will wrap the wall, but it's a 2-piece system that sandwiches the wall. You're able to install this at the end of your construction process, and you can finish everything. You can finish your wall, your drywall, put your carpet in. Pretty much the doors would go in at the end of the construction process. IAC fabricates each door and frame specifically for each order, so we don't stock doors. We make them whatever size they are needed, and that's the same for the frames. So the male frame section here is made at different lengths to accommodate different wall thicknesses on different projects. There may be several different wall thicknesses within one project, and we will make each frame to fit that specific opening. I recall a project where the frame of a noise lock door actually wrapped a wall that was 36 inches thick. So that kind of gives you an idea that we're very flexible on our frames wrapping different walls. I get that question a lot from customers. Oh, can we fit a 12-inch thick wall, 8-inch, and that will never be a problem because we make the frames per order. There are no exposed fasteners after the door is installed. So the fasteners you see here, there are holes in the frame that go through and into the wall. And then those holes are covered with a plug button, so you do not see the fasteners. Plug buttons can be taken out so that you can get to the anchors, but after installed, all anchors are covered. Another thing to note about the noise lock door frame is that no grouting is required with the noise lock door installation. And not only is it not required, it's not recommended. We do not want the frame to be grouted. So the split frame design, along with no grouting, really allows for a clean and smooth installation process. Now that we've gone over the different configurations and STC ratings, we will be discussing some of the standard features that you can expect with the noise lock door. Noise lock doors, all of them are factory hung. They'll all have a split frame. Any door hardware that's required for the project would be factory installed. All of the hardware would also be supplied by IAC. This helps. For one, the hardware is installed in the factory. You don't have to mess around with putting hardware in the field. You know it fits properly. The door's been tested. Everything works properly in the door before we ship it. All noise lock doors and frames will receive at minimum a powder coat finish that would at minimum be a prime finish. We have some standard colors that can be selected. We can do custom colors. We can also do a veneer finish, which we'll discuss shortly. All noise lock doors will either have a single, double, triple, or triple seal, and they're available in single, double, triple, or quad leaf swinging configurations. IAC installation or installation supervision is available. Also available is an IAC inspection after installation to inspect and certify that the installation was done properly. Noise lock doors are ADA in most configurations. Obviously, there are some sizes, and when you get to the higher STC ratings, that they may not be ADA compliant, but there always is the option to add an automatic door operator to achieve ADA compliance. And automatic door operators can be added in the field. It's actually the one device that IAC does not factory install, simply because it needs to be tied into the host wall and needs to be wired and installed in the field in order to operate properly. And all noise lock doors will always contain the internal backing plates and internal preparation to receive an auto operator if it's decided that it's needed in the future. It can be installed after the installation. Another thing that you can expect with all noise lock doors is guaranteed performance. IAC guarantees the performance of all noise lock doors if installed properly with no flanking paths. In these photos, what you're seeing are noise lock doors hanging in the factory. So these photos were taken at the door final assembly area, where every noise lock door is factory hung into its specific frame to ensure proper seal fit prior to shipment. All hinges, seals, and other hardware, windows, Everything is factory installed to ensure the proper function in the field. You can also see that these doors have a factory applied finish. This is a powder coat finish. The doors on the right appear to have the standard IAC gray primer. So it's a gray colored primer. It actually appears to look more like an actual finish coat, but it truly is a primer and it is intended to be painted in the field. So the option of painting the doors in the field is there most of the time unless an actual color is selected. Some things that you'll notice in the photos on this slide are the man door within the larger door. So this is a double leaf door. It's very large. And then there is another noise lock door installed within the active leaf. So this would be for an easier means of egress. This door could possibly be into some type of testing facility, and they would not be able to open the large door. It may be held shut with cane bolts on the inside, and they have a man door in there for the operator to exit the test enclosure before performing the test. You can also tell that this door is fire rated, and I can tell that by the steel plate around the window and those bolts. Typically on a non-fire rated door, you would see an aluminum framed window framing. So this looks a little more industrial. That is because that is a fire rated window. You'll also notice the factory installed hardware. This door that appears to be an exit device, the push bar would be on the interior. There's also pull handles, and this knob here appears to be to the a Cremone type bolt on the interior. That would be a top and bottom latching bolt. The photo on the right also has factory installed hardware. That device is an LKM security lock set with an X10 combination dial. IAC does supply security doors for skiff applications and other secure facilities. A device like this may require a certified installation, and when we install specific devices such as the LKM series that require certification and paperwork to be provided with the door proving that it was installed by a certified technician, we have trained personnel for certain devices in our factory. Otherwise, we will bring in outside sources to install devices like LKMs and other security devices that require certified technicians. In this photo, these are some close-up pictures of seals, which are also factory installed. The bottom left photo is an image of the integrated adjustable bottom seal. So you can see that fastener there. After the door is installed, that fastener is loosened up, and the bottom seal can move up and down. And you'll need to position it into the proper location to achieve just enough compression at the sill plate, so that when the door opens and closes, it's in the proper sealed position. All noise lock doors are on cam lift hinges, so the door is actually raising up when it's swinging open, and as it shuts and it approaches the final closed position, it will reach the lowest point in the swing, and that's where the bottom seal will compress against the floor or sill plate. So we don't use a drag seal or a sweep seal. It's actually a compression seal, and because of the cam lift hinge, it's not dragging and it's not being pulled against the floor except for that very first moment, because the door, it actually rises up off the ground after only moving a slight bit from the closed position due to the cam lift hinge. You'll also notice in this center picture that the seals, this is of the door leaf, and these seals are factory, they're mitered. We actually purchased them that way. And have them made that way because the corner is a weak spot for a lot of sound control doors. So if we were cutting that material, the foam, the plastic retainer that holds the seal in and the magnetic seal, we would risk having a leak at the corner. So we've worked with our suppliers, and we receive the corner pieces are at one piece. You'll also see the top left photo. This is of the door frame. The door is open, so you can see through to the other side there. Here's the seal that's installed on the frame, and it's the same situation. We have the magnetic seal and retainer. We purchased them in one piece, so there's no leak at the corner on the frame or the door leaf. You can see here the edge of the door. The same seal material is installed in the door. And again, this is all installed in the factory, so you don't have to mess around with loose seals in the field. You'll also see a mortise lock set installed here. Again, all hardware is factory installed. This one happens to be an electrified lock set with a card reader built into it. I'm going to show you a photo of a sound control door that is not factory hung and does not have factory installed seals and hardware. And this is what you could expect from a door that is not factory hung. So you'll see factory hung with factory installed hardware as part of our specification. And this kind of shows why it's so important. You really don't want to deal with this in the field. There may be a cost savings, but this will cost you a lot of time, labor, and headache in the field. So you can have this, or you can have this. So this is just to give you a really good understanding of what we really mean by factory installed hardware, seals, and factory hung. Here you can see a single leaf noise lock door on the left and a double leaf on the right. The single leaf noise lock door includes a pull handle and a push plate. That's some very basic hardware, non-latching. That brings me to the point that noise lock doors do not need to latch to perform acoustically, and that is another benefit of the magnetic seal. So the door, it's closed. The magnetic seal is it's enough to draw the magnet to the steel on the frame of the door to create a seal, and it does not need to be over compressed or held shut with a latch. All of our test reports, which we have on all of the different performance levels, those doors were tested with no latching hardware. This door on the left also includes a half glass window. Again, all windows are factory glazed, and you can see this one compared to that fire rated window that we mentioned. This has a much more architectural aluminum extruded frame, and all of the windows in the doors would be double glazed. This one, I believe, would be 1/4 inch by 1/2 inch glazing, 1/4 inch on one side, 1/2 inch on the other. As the window gets bigger, it would become 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. The double leaf door pictured on the right has a mortise lock set. It has a narrow light window, again with the same aluminum framing, and this device on the top is an overhead door stop. So those overhead door stops are used to stop the door from swinging open past a certain point, often used when they don't want it to swing open too far to hit the wall, or they want to limit how far that door opens. So it can be set at various degrees. This door also has unequal leaves, which is an option when at times they may need the full clear opening with both door leaves open, but the majority of the time they probably will only need this section, which looks to be about a 4 foot wide active leaf. And this door is also veneer finished. This door on the left is a bifold double leaf door. So this door can, this active leaf swings open. You can see that this component here is a magnetic latch. So this will actually latch into, or a magnetic catch. it will actually connect to this receiving piece, and then those two doors could be opened together. So again, this is a situation where they may only need to open the active leaf the majority of the time, but if needed, they can open both together, and they don't need as much space for both to swing open. And this is a full glass window, so that would be a 1/2 inch thick double glazed laminated safety glass. The door on the right is a quad leaf door, and that is pretty much 2 of these bifold doors next to each other in one opening. So this door would open that way and catch into that magnetic catch. This one would open that way. You would have slide bolts on the interior of the room that would keep the 2 outer leaves latched in place. And when you need to open the entire opening for an event or whatever is needed, possibly moving large equipment through, depending on the application, you would unlatch those interior slide bolts and you could open all 4 leaves. And I believe this opening was about 14 feet wide. You'll notice on this the outer hinges that are connected to the wall, and then you'll see these hinges that are between each leaf. So it's a different style hinge. They are both cam lift. These hinges are just more robust and can handle the weight and the moment of 2 leaves swinging on these hinges. So at a certain point, when the weight of the door exceeds a certain point, we have to upgrade to a larger hinge. They do look a little bit more industrial, but when you're swinging a 7-foot leaf, essentially with the 2 of them combined, that's what's required to support that weight. So those were some of the standard features that you would always expect with a noise lock door. And now we're going to discuss some of the available options. So noise lock doors are available with a UL fire rating up to 3 hours. They're available on wood veneered doors up to 90 minutes. There are various window options available for noise lock doors. We can offer a full glass window in up to an STC 55 performance. So we have standard sizes of 10 by 10, 4 by 25, or 4 by 30 for a narrow light. 24 by 36 would be standard in a 3-foot by 7-foot door for a half glass, and a 24 by 66 window would be a full glass window in a 3-foot by 7-foot door. We can offer different sizes other than those standard sizes, but like I said, up to a full glass window in an STC 55 performance. When we get into the STC 61 and 64 doors, we cannot go larger than, I believe, a half glass window and still guarantee performance. Another option that's available for noise lock windows is side light windows. So in addition to noise lock doors, IAC manufactures and supplies noise lock windows. So we have the capability of providing side light windows that would go with the doors and match the performance of the door. And shortly after this, in a few slides, I'll show some examples of IAC side light windows with noise lock doors. I've shown a picture of a wood veneered door, and I don't know that I mentioned IAC does supply a factory applied wood veneer finish. This would be another instance where we do not stock that material, so we do not stock veneer, and we order veneer. We work with a very specific supplier. The wood veneer on a noise lock door wraps all exposed edges, so even in the open position, you will not see any exposed steel. We end the veneer underneath the seal, so you will not see where the sheet ends. Some other companies that veneer steel doors, they basically put a laminate on both faces, and you would still see exposed steel when you open the door. So that's something important to note about the noise lock doors and the veneer finish. And we can pretty much supply any type of wood veneer because we're ordering it. from a supplier. We're not limited to, stock that we keep on hand. So I've worked with doors that have had pretty rare species of wood specified. For example, we've provided doors that were veneered with Japanese ash or African mahogany, different cuts. We can do book match and end match. All of those options are available. I actually can only think of one veneer that we could not provide, and that was pecan. So I remember a customer wanted pecan, and it is the only type of veneer that we could not source. In that instance, when we could not source it, what we did was we worked with our supplier and got some samples of veneer that they recommended were a close match or would look very similar, and we actually provided some samples to our customer, who provided them to the architect, and ultimately a sample of a different species was approved for us to use because it was a close enough match in appearance. Also note about the wood veneer finish that ISE does not stain the doors. We do factory apply to the doors, but the doors are shipped unfinished. We are sound control door experts. We are experts at applying the veneer, but we are not people that stain the door. So our veneer doors would be shipped unfinished. We can also offer an RF shielding up to 50 dB with noise lock doors. We have a blast resistance available up to 144 pounds per square inch, or I'm sorry, PSF. And we have security rated skiff doors that meet ICD 705. I mentioned side-light windows previously. So here is a picture of a very large side-light window. This is an STC 51 performance. On a window this size, we would actually upgrade the glass thickness. So based on other test data we have, this window would probably achieve more than an STC 51. So we can achieve an STC 53 with 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch glass, but we would not use 1/4 inch glass on a window this size. So this is probably higher performing than an STC 53. That is an STC 51 door with a full glass window next to it. And we know that our STC 51 with a full glass window will actually test out and perform at a level of STC 52 with the full glass window in it. Here are two more photos of doors with factory applied veneer. So this door is what it looks like unfinished. And it's not required that it's finished either. Some people prefer the natural tone of the veneer, but it's then they may want to seal it. The door on the right has clearly been stained. Here's a photo of an oversized blast resistant door. This door, I can tell you, is an STC 61, and it also has powered automatic operator installed. And I was talking about that before, that would be installed in the field. You can see that this is the operator mechanism up here. It's mounted to the wall. It requires electrical work to be wired into the building. Often it would be connected to a fire suppression system. And those are all things that require it to be installed in the field and really limit us from doing it in our factory. But you can see here is where it's mounted to the door. It's actually a very small area, and all of our doors include backing plates, internal backing plates to receive closers on both sides. So our standard closer backing plate, the size was determined so that it would also allow for power operators to be installed in the field. So even if we aren't aware and a customer decides after the fact that they want a power operator, the door is already equipped with the proper backing plate to receive that power operator. This is some Cremone style hardware. You'll see this typically on blast resistant doors with top and bottom latching vertical rod. Here is a photo. I was referencing skiff doors and RF shielding. Here is some security hardware. This is a CDX10 combination dial. And this is a cipher lock that appears to be a trilogy mortise lock set with a built-in pin pad. Here is the frame where that would connect. So we have the CDX10 strike plate, and then we also have the standard strike plate for a more typical mortise lock set below. Noise lock doors have been installed in auditoriums, concert halls, engine test facilities. We see them in offices, radio and recording studios, different secure areas, laboratories, universities, hospitals. I mean, the list really goes on. And podcasts, we do provide them for residential purposes here and there, typically home studios or podcast stations. The list of applications where noise lock doors would be installed really, we're always receiving inquiries and requests for information for different types of projects. So it really, there's no one application. There's hundreds of applications where you could use a noise lock door. I would like to discuss a couple different projects that we've recently shipped a large quantity of noise lock doors. One of them is University of the Arts, located in City Center, Philadelphia, and Intercom Communications Corporation. Intercom has locations in Atlanta, Miami, San Diego, and their headquarters in Philadelphia. They have other locations. These are just the locations that we have supplied noise lock doors, and actually a large amount of noise lock windows were also supplied for the Intercom projects. University of the Arts, located in Philadelphia, is a university of visual and performing arts, and the project required a large amount of sound rated doors, 56 in total, and we worked with the general contractor on the project and ended up supplying 56 STC 51 noise lock doors. These noise lock doors were for recording studios. They have their own recording studio in the facility, practice rooms, drum rooms, isolation rooms, control rooms, and all 56 doors, they were spread out between the 10th and 11th floor, where most of the music education was provided. Here's some additional photos from the University of Arts project. You can see here they had a lot of sidelight windows actually were provided on that project. So here's the photo of that large sidelight window again, and that had the electrified mortise lock set with a card access pad. This device actually happens to be a battery powered lock set, and it had Wi-Fi capabilities. There were some very specific requirements for the hardware required. Another door on the same project with a smaller sidelight. So just like the doors, we don't stock sidelight windows. We make them per opening. We have glass cut for each opening, so we are not limited to the material that we stock as we're making each specifically for the opening on the project. And I mentioned electrified hardware, so these were battery powered. We do a lot of electric lock sets that are not battery powered. Most of the electric lock sets we do are not battery powered, and in that case, we would have internal conduit that would be factory installed prior to the door being completely fabricated, and it would go, in this case, it would go down and around the window and up towards the area where the top hinge is, and then we use concealed power transfers or in some situations, based on the customer's preference, we would use an armored door loop. And that also kind of leads into more hardware topics that come up often. I think you can kind of see from the presentation so far, we do not have a standard set of hardware. We will get requests from customers and hardware specifiers, and they say, well, what hardware do we need to specify for your door? What is your standard hardware set? So there is no standard hardware set that IAC includes with our doors. We are matching the project specifications. So we can install most commercial hardware on noise lock doors with very few limitations. I would say the limitations that I can think of are cylindrical lock sets. For instance, we do not use cylindrical lock sets because they do not hold up to the weight of the noise lock door. So we would use mortise lock sets in lieu of cylindrical lock sets. If a Schlage cylindrical lock set is specified, we would include and propose a mortise lock set. We would use a Schlage. We would use the same finish. We would provide the same function. So when something can't be used with our doors, we provide the closest match and functionality with a different device. Other devices that we can't use, there are certain closer arms that we can't use. We can't use a cush closer arm, and that is due to the cam lift hinge. So we have a proprietary cam lift hinge. It's fabricated specifically for IAC. And because of that, our cam lift hinge, it actually raises the door up slightly over a ½ inch. So that's a pretty substantial rise for a cam lift hinge compared to the kind that you may be able to buy commercially. So, we need that rise to give us an effective bottom seal. And also our hinge is specifically designed to support the weight of our door while allowing you to swing the door open easily, but it is not a self-closing hinge. So because of that cam lift hinge, we're limited on a couple different types of closer arms we can't use. We don't like to use parallel arms, and like I said, we cannot use the cush closer arm. That one specifically would break pretty quickly because it's not designed to be bent and moved when the door is rising up a ½ inch when open. There's some power transfers as well that we can't use, and again, that's due to the cam lift hinge. Other than that, we install really most of the hardware that we see specified: mortise exit devices, vertical rod devices, electrified lock sets, all types of different locks. We do custom pull handles. So really the point is we do not have a set standard hardware that we sell with the doors. We provide the hardware that is specified for each project. And again, we don't stock hardware other than hinges. We do stock some closers and some of the typical stuff that we were using often, but as far as lock sets and exit devices, because there's so many different combinations of finish and function and different trim, we don't stock those parts, but we work very closely with different hardware suppliers who can get us the hardware quickly in order to meet our standard lead time. The other project I'd like to mention is Intercom Communications Corporation. Intercom Communications Corporation required sound-controlled doors and quite a bit of sound-controlled windows at their headquarters in Philadelphia and other facilities in Atlanta, Miami, San Diego. Also, there was a Chicago location. And overall, between all of these locations, IAC supplied 59 noise lock doors and about 200 noise lock windows. So these are pictures from inside 2 different studios located at one of the Intercom facilities. So you can see in the picture on the left here, there is a noise lock door. And to the right of it, noise lock windows, and to the left of it, there's more noise lock windows. You can see these noise lock windows, like many others on the project, went all the way to the floor. So there were a lot of large noise lock windows lined up next to each other on this project. You can see the same thing here. These noise lock windows go all the way down, and a lot of them were specified to have sloped glazing on one side. You can kind of see that here. You can see this slope in the glass. If you are interested in noise lock windows and you'd like to learn more about them, please contact me after the webinar and we can talk about noise lock windows, and I'll answer any questions you have about them. We have several other case studies of different projects that we've shipped over the past recent history. Here's two specifically. We had Talking House Studios in San Francisco, California. We had Palladium Performing Arts Center in Carmel, Indiana. And the list goes on. If you're interested in checking out some of our other case studies, you can find them on our website. And I like to specifically mention our YouTube channel. Not a lot of people know that we have a very extensive YouTube channel with you can view past webinars on different products. There's a lot of did you know videos. It's a really good resource if you're looking to see images and actual videos of some of our products and hear an explanation and learn about those products from watching a video. I'd like to thank you for joining today's Noise Lock Door webinar. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them now. If not, feel free to reach out to me in the future. My email address is up on the screen if you'd like a copy of this presentation. I have webinars prepared for super noise lock doors, specifically sliding super noise lock doors. And then there are several other webinars for other product lines, but specifically I am the door and window sales manager. So if you have any door or window related questions in the future, please, I look forward to hearing from you. If there's no questions, I'm going to end the webinar. I'll be presenting this webinar again each Thursday for the rest of the month, and I will try to change it a little bit and add some different photos and examples. So if you are free and feel like joining again next week or any of the other Thursdays in July, I look forward to seeing your names on the list again. Thanks again.